Back with Bobby and JJ Radio. We have a second-time offender. Somehow she came back to sit next to Bobby again. So
I showered.
I know. So I guess it's she doesn't hate us. It's Tim McDiarmid, but she goes by Tim the Girl.
Yeah.
Now talk about how did you get that nickname Tim the Girl?
Well, she's a girl.
She's a girl, and her name is Tim.
A girl. Some people meet me and they're like, "Oh wow, and you're a girl."
Yeah. So you just said Tim the Girl.
Super weird. Yeah. I mean, so my parents named me Tim, and so growing up, kind of the joke with my friends was that nobody ever knew my last name because they didn't have to differentiate me from anyone else other than the girl.
Yeah. So then you
when I
just
was
took
in
it
New
and ran
York
with
City,
it.
I had a company called TTG Consulting, and that was like short for Tim the Girl, but it sounded real pro. And when I moved here, my friends are like, "You should just come out of the closet now."
Yeah. Just say Tim the Girl.
Yeah.
Is it short for anything, Tim?
No.
Not Samantha or
No.
Samantha.
I've heard it all. Okay.
I tried.
So Tim, you were here last time. You were talking about, well, talk about your journey here in San Antonio a little bit. We can kind of refresh. Come from New York. You bring...
Yeah, so I lived in New York. I'm from the west coast of Canada. I grew up in hippie land in a dome, hence the name Tim.
Right.
And then I lived in New York City for 18 years. I moved here almost 9 years ago.
Sure.
And started small catering, private chefing with my company, Tim the Girl. And that slowly became bigger. And then about 4 years ago, because I wanted to have something scalable and that wasn't so attached to me, I came up with the concept for the good kind.
The good kind.
So we opened our first location at Pearl almost 2 years ago at the food hall.
Right.
And then we just opened our second location last week in Southtown.
Sure. So let's talk about that second location. It used to be the Monterey and the Monty.
Yeah.
That's Bobby's Hood from the 90s. I mean, that thing's been there forever, right?
Yeah, it was rough at some point.
Right, it was like,
we had to scare off the homeless just to...
The transients, we call them, yeah. But now it's kind of the reach of Southtown, right? Like it's
it's nice now.
It's definitely nice.
It's trendy. It's cool.
I'd say it's like kind of the heart of Southtown now. Yeah.
Yeah, now it is because you are in like
we're in King
William.
We're in King William.
Yeah. Like if you look at the legal description, it is definitely King William.
What about the illegal description?
It's then La Vaca. And then, so you're in King William and you're on Flores Street.
No, we are on St. Mary's.
I'm so sorry. You're right. St. Mary's. That runs parallel with Presso.
Yes, exactly.
Up and down.
We're right across, conveniently, we're across from
Ace Mar.
Mission and Ace Restaurant Supply.
Yeah, so whenever you just need you need a ladle, you just run across the street, come
exactly.
back. Got it. And so talk about the renovation of what you did with the current space. Before, I remember when it was the Monty and the Monterey. Why did you take over that space? And tell me how the menu has kind of adapted to the space that you're in now.
So because we have the restaurant concept and the catering concept, we were a very good fit for the property because we have almost an acre of space.
Yeah, and that's very deceiving because if you go up to it, it just looks like...
Well, it's fenced in. You can't see what's behind it.
Because it's the back property. So
right.
when people
it looks
come
like two
in,
properties.
They're like, wow. So when the Monterey was there, they had a much smaller backyard seating than we have. We've expanded that because we took the lease for the whole property.
Sure.
So we have a private event space attached to the restaurant that's, 3/4 of an acre.
So let's talk about that space. So it's an acre of land in the heart of Southtown, which is, King William. How rare is that, and how many people can you actually service in that area?
So we have it right now parceled up into the restaurant and then the private event space. We can do 350 to 400.
Wow, so you can have a wedding there.
Oh, we have lots already booked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we're booking weddings, we're booking corporate, we're doing board retreats, board meetings, we have AV there. So we're trying to kind of across the board, fill the venue.
So that's kind of the evolution of the good kind then. It's like, yes, we are open to the public, you can come eat.
So the restaurant itself is open to the public all the time.
Right.
And then the venue and gardens are separated. So indoors, we can only fit 100.
Sure. Which is still for Southtown huge.
Right, it's huge. And we can, there's a lot of options for attending. There's a lot of different configurations of what can happen there.
Right.
And so people also have the option to buy out the whole property, which would then include the restaurant.
For sure.
But
did you do any renovations to the actual place?
We did.
We went the other day and it was so cool.
Yeah.
That we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like almost like downtown, very like a lofty feel. It was a great feel.
Yeah, I mean, we totally built out the front restaurant space with our, we have our whole design and branding guides. The gardens we didn't have to do a lot to. They were well kept.
For sure.
Yeah.
So talk about quickly the menu and how it's expanded for that space.
So we are open for breakfast. So at Pearl, we're only lunch and dinner.
Right.
We now have a breakfast menu, and it's fairly extensive. You know, we have 8 to 10 solid breakfast items. Also brunch every day. You know, Saturdays and Sundays.
Right.
We've added more dinner items. We also have a lot more grab and go, which was the initial concept, but we don't have a ton of room for it at Pearl.
Right.
So we have lunches to go. You know, people can come in and get breakfast. The idea is people can come in, we have a coffee program also, so they can come and get breakfast and then pick up their lunch to go.
Got it. And last kind of question while we have you here in the studio. So what have you learned opening up these locations, and some advice you would give to like future entrepreneurs
or anything else,
restaurateurs?
you should go get a real job. It's, you know, you really have to be crafty and believe in what you're doing.
Right.
You know, tenacious, I would say. I mean, it's a very intense learning process all the time.
Right.
And I've never got to where maybe I'll get a couple hours where I can sit back and be like, okay, I've like learned lots of stuff.
Yeah.
Things are good. And then I'm like, whoa, okay, on to the next.
Because it's menus and inventory.
There's just so many parts, because also we have in our catering company now, we do like full service catering at all the big venues in town. So,
right.
you know, it's also, a restaurant is a restaurant that has its own things, but catering is a whole nother animal.
So you've
because
almost,
each one you're doing is
and
a
an
whole
event
different
center.
thing.
And an event center. So you open up 3 businesses at one time.
I mean, yeah, some were already going, but yes, exactly.
Well, check it out. They're in the heart of Southtown, right in my hood, actually. But they're open for brunch during the week, breakfast.
On St. Mary's.
On St. Mary's Street.
Yeah.
And they are the
Breakfast,
good...
lunch, dinner, full bar.
Full bar, breakfast,
bar.
and a coffee, something you said. Check them out at eatgoodkind.com for all the information of all the locations, and stop by. They're at St. Mary's, right south of...
And the venue is Ivy Hall.
Ivy Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And that's it for our show this week. We'll see you next week at Bobby and JJ Radio.
Bye.